Hey Jana,
Hi.
how are you doing today?
I'm here, most I'll say.
Okay. My name is Martina. I'm a therapist here at Everlasting Arms Family Counseling Center. I just wanted to kind of give you a brief rundown of how it's going to work and how things typically go. And the first thing I want you to understand is this is your safe zone. Anything you tell me, I'm not going to go tell anybody else.
Including my parents.
And within reason, there are some things that I'm required by law to tell them.
Tell my parents, or you have to tell anyone? Could you tell Lori instead of my parents?
There's some things that I have to report to Lori, and then there's some things that I do have to report to your parents also. Anything that you tell me regarding neglect or abuse, I have to report that to the authorities. If you're being abused, if you know someone who's being abused or neglected, anything like that, I absolutely have to report. If you tell me you feel like you're hurting yourself or someone else, I also have to report that. And to answer your question about your parents, I'm not going to give them details of our conversation. If they ask me how you're progressing on your goals, I would have to tell them that. If you tell me about any behaviors, like if you're being overly promiscuous, which I'm not sure if you're not familiar with that word.
No, ma'am.
Okay. If you are very sexually active with many different people, then that's information that I should probably share with your parents. And I'll be required to give weekly updates to your court designated worker, which is Lori. And
You wouldn't have to tell Lori, if I told you me and my parents argued a lot or any of that, you wouldn't have to tell them.
now, if it's directly impacting your progress, that's something that we need to talk about that.
Okay.
If you're having issues with not being able to keep your probation and things like that, then we need to figure out some options and how we can work things out and smooth things out at home to where you can stay there. And I don't want to see you end up in juvenile detention center. So basically what's going to happen is you're going to come in once a week and you're going to work with me for about 50 minutes. And together we'll sit down and we'll figure out what your goals are going to be and what you want to work on. And we'll come up with a plan and we'll get to do it.
Okay. Certain things I tell you, do you have to tell Lori?
Specific details, no, I don't have to tell her those. Just basically, if she asks me how you're progressing on your goals, I would have to give her that information. Another thing that I noticed that I wanted to clarify for you, I also have to have a signed consent form before I can even release information to other people other than Lori and your mom and dad. Your parents would have to sign a consent form before I could even talk to a teacher at school or anyone like that. I can't
They
give that
have
information.
to sign them, or will I be able to sign them? Because they don't care. They'll sign whatever they want.
Because you're a minor, your parents would have to sign the consent form to get permission. Okay, so Lori has gave me just some basic information, but I don't really have a full understanding. Now, she did tell me that you were already on probation. Do you want to tell me what that was about?
I'm on probation because I was selling prescription pills at school. I got them from one of my friend's moms. She's a big druggie, and I was able to get oxycodone and all that, and some Xanax and stuff like that from her because she'd had some extras, and she said that if I wanted them, I could have them and I could sell them. And I needed some extra money because mom and dad hadn't been helping with the bills at home. So I had to have money from somewhere because my job wasn't just covering it. Well, I gave one of my friends 2 of these pills, and these were the kind of she didn't tell me what they were. She just gave me some Xanaxes, some oxycodones, and then some others, and she said, I don't know what they are. They're just some I'd had laying around. I said, all right, whatever. And she wanted some of them. And I told her, I said, I don't know what you have to take of them. I don't know nothing about these because I don't know what kind they are.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you how many you want to take of these 2, but I can't tell you what these are or how many to take or what will kill you.
Okay, so I'm sorry to interrupt, but let me clarify I'm understanding you. So you were selling pills and you weren't sure what they were?
Yeah.
Okay. And these were pills that you had gotten from a friend's mom?
Yes.
Okay.
And I gave them to her, and she took them. Well, I don't know how many she took because I gave her she gave me 3 bottles of them, and I put them in these little things. And I told her, I said, take however many you want, I don't care. And I don't know how many I had to begin with, but after she took how many she wanted, I had maybe 20 something left, and I know I had at least 100 or more. And she took all of them with her. I don't know how many she took of them, but I got a call from one of my friends and said that she'd ended up in the hospital, and a couple hours later, the cops showed up at the school, and I didn't have any of the pills on me because I'd like keep them in my locker.
Mhm.
I normally like keep them on me so in case like cops showed up or anything, you wouldn't be able to find them because I keep them where they couldn't find them.
Okay.
Well, I'd have them in my locker, and the cops showed up and they searched my locker, and they found them, and then they said, "Did you sell any?" And did you sell any to Michaela? And I said, "Yeah." I mean, she wanted some, so I sold them to her. And they said, "You're under arrest for possession of illegal drugs and manslaughter," because she died. And once she passed away, they said that she had released to them that I was the one that she got the pills from, and that I'd told her to take this many when I told her I didn't know how many she had to
Okay.
take.
So this wasn't like all in one day. This was like you sold her the pills, then she went to the hospital, and then she
She was
died.
in the hospital, like, she took the pills that afternoon, and then she didn't wake up that morning, and they took her and she'd overdosed, and they gave her some kind of medicine. And then she, like, came back, but she wasn't doing it at all, because, like, it, like, shut down her kidneys and everything because, like, of how much she took. And they said that she wouldn't last that much longer, and she talked to the cops and told them everything. And by the majority of over 3 days, she died. And that happened all over 3 days, and I was already in.
Okay.
I gave them to her on a Wednesday, and by Friday, I was sitting in juvenile.
So you were very fortunate to avoid any further action as it was. Okay, so what happened with you not keeping your curfew?
Me not keeping my curfew, what had happened was me and one of my friends, we got off work, and she said that her and her boyfriend and some of her other friends were going to go hang out at the lake. And they knew I was having a hard time because my parents were helping at home with the bills, and we were arguing constantly, and all they would do was lay there and do nothing and then make me do all the work. And I'd been working my butt off, and that's why I started selling pills, so I could actually get something done, because they said that I wasn't working hard enough to get the bills and stuff paid. So I told her, and she knew everything that was going on. She said, "If you want to go to the lake with us, you can." I told her about my curfew, and she said, "Well, it's not going to hurt to miss one time because I was doing really good." And she said, "I think Lori will understand if you just tell her what was going on and you needed a break."
Oh, but you didn't talk to Lori first.
No, I didn't. It was after midnight because my curfew's at midnight. I get off work at midnight, and I have about 10-15 minutes to get home.
Okay.
And, like, if they catch me out after that, that's when I can get in trouble. And I didn't have enough time to call Lori, and plus she was probably in bed. It was midnight.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Which I didn't think cops would be out that late anyways. I mean, it was Saturday night.
Yeah.
So, I mean, most cops are at home going to bed because they have to go to church the next day.
Now, looking back now, do you think that you made good choices?
I made a good choice and I made a bad choice because I was trying to get away from my parents because we were arguing all the time. And it was kind of getting annoyed, and I knew if I would have went home, they would have started doing the same stuff they always do. So I didn't want to be around that no more. And I just needed a break from that, and then I made a bad choice not to call Lori beforehand.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is you weren't really trying to break a curfew as much as you were just trying to get away from your parents because it's stressful. Okay.
If there was any way I could get away from my parents, whether it be on the juvie or not, I would.
Have you explained that to Lori?
No, I have not.
Okay, that's something she really needs to hear from you. If you're so stressed out and so overwhelmed by your home life that you would rather be in a juvenile detention center, that's definitely something that she needs to know. So what other goals would you like to set while you're here with me? Because we need to do what we can do to keep you out of juvenile detention center and see what other arrangements can be made.
I want to either my parents get a job and actually help out with this stuff. I'm 16 years old. I can't take care of 3 sisters. I have 3 younger sisters ranging from the age of 2, 6, and 12. I can't. I mean, at one point I need a break from them because I'm the one that has to take care of them, get them to school, make sure they're there. I have to go to the middle school and the elementary school, and I'm in high school, and the high school's on the whole other side of town.
What are
I
your
get paid
parents
for gas.
doing when this is going on?
Sleeping or getting high one.
Okay. I think we need to have a meeting with Lori and talk to Lori about some of the things going on at home. I think
Well,
that's something that needs to be
I
reported.
just feel like my parents should get more mad. Nothing's going to happen from it because CPS has been called on us 3 or 4 times, and nothing ever happens. And all it does is it makes stuff harder on us at home.
Okay. So, in your opinion, what can be done to make the situation better?
They actually remove us and tell our parents that they aren't going to get us back. Because my sisters even agree they don't want to be there. Whenever I can get them away from my parents, I do the best I can because they want them going. They don't want any of us anyways. They just, the only reason most of us are here is because they didn't have the decency to actually be put on some kind of method to not get pregnant. They told us all we were a mistake and they don't know half of our parents. My mom doesn't know who our dad is.
Okay. So, let me ask you this. If CPS won't remove you, what needs to happen? In your opinion?
Get rid of my parents. I'll live with some family member. I just don't want to be with our parents.
Okay. So, next week, we'll try and figure out some methods that you can do to just kind of keep your head on straight and keep your sanity while you are still at home. I really need you to try and make sure that you're keeping your curfew and that you're following the terms of your probation, because if you don't, you are going to end up in juvenile detention. Another thing that I really want you to focus on is noticing if you're still calm while you're at work or if you're still staying upset all the time at work.
Because, like, they'll stress me out right before I get to work. And then, see, where I work, all it is constantly, if you don't do something right, you mess the whole train up because it's a factory. There's no other places that'll hire me at 16. I've had to work since I was 14 years old. They won't do nothing around the house. And they've been told Miranda that if she doesn't start working soon enough, they're going to kick her out, and she's only 12.
Okay.
She,
So, next week when you come in, we can set up some goals and we can establish some basic guidelines for what you want to do in your life, and we can see if we can work towards achieving those. Like I said, for now, I just need you to follow the terms of your probation. It was good to meet you, and I'll see you next week.
alrighty.
All right, thank you. Probably not the best, but we're going with it. Yeah, when you started talking about working in a factory, I was going to kill you.
Wow.
You can't work in a factory at 16.
Yes, you can. MTD does.
MTD will not hire you until you're 18. They legally cannot hire you until you're 18.